way we find the barns is through driving around is number one. We all like to drive, get on the back roads. You see an old building site, barn might be falling down, it looks unique. So you can stop in and talk to the farmer. Our dads are good resources. They're older guys, they're retired, they're in tractor clubs, they're in different things like that. So they'll be talking to somebody over a cup of coffee at the local cafe and say, hey, you know, we've got this old barn, we're going to burn it or we're going to bury it. Now, obviously, we don't want to burn it or bury it. So we'll make a contact and tell them what we do and what we'd like to do with their barn. And usually it works out pretty well, and we can salvage it here. And where we're going, Mary lives in a valley that's called Cook's Valley. Because somebody named Cook probably lived there would be my first guess. And we're going to drop down the hill here pretty quick, and Mary's expecting us. And she did mention she was baking, so could be another score for the fat guy here.
We moved over here in May of 1981, and of course that was when the farm crisis was extremely severe. Our interest on our loan was 19 and or 20%. Needless to say, as the milk checks came, half of it went to the bank, half of it went to the feed store. There wasn't much left.
And you got the rest. Zero.
Zero.
Zero. So it's a lot of nothing is still nothing.
That's right.
Mary.
That's right.
And I was just a kid then. I can remember my parents going through the same thing.
Yep.
And I know it made quite an effect on them.
Yep.
And you know, I give you credit for surviving, Mary. And we all did. We all survived.
Well, we all did. Yeah.
All right. Well, Mary, we're going to get some of the guys and we're going to go look at the barn. As I kind of told you from way back, we want to take pieces of this barn and reuse it. We want to make sure that people remember that it came from Mary Tennis's farm. So one way or another, we're going to put MT on it, or we'll date it, and we'll repurpose this barn. And I thank you for letting us do it.
That's good.
Mary.
Thank you. I'm glad to see things be reused.
The first thing that we noticed when we came down here was it has the traditional board and batten siding, and it has the wide barn boards on it. I mean, a lot of these are 10 to 12 inches, and they have the batten strip on it, which this is, and it's weathered to the gray or the red, and it does have a little bit of white. But we've probably got, between all sides, there's probably 1,000 or so square feet of the siding, which it's a pine or a softwood of some nature. But we can wire brush this stuff up, and this is actually the most beautiful siding. In our talks with Mary, when Lucas and I and Jim were all down here just to look at the barn, Mary would like us to try to maybe save the old milk house, because obviously the milk house was added onto the barn recently here. The only the trick is the milk house shares a common wall with the barn. But the milk house isn't critical. If that comes or goes, they're not so worried. Mary's biggest issue is she doesn't like the silo here anymore, because she's concerned about it with her grandchildren. It's not a super tall silo, but yet it doesn't have any silo doors on it, so she's kind of afraid the kids can crawl in it. So we're going to have to take it down. We're just trying to decide what kind of a salvage we could get out of it. The old silo staves, I know people use them for landscaping and maybe temporary sidewalks. So we're trying to repurpose the staves, but we're going to try to get into the barn now. And like a lot of the barns we get to, they're already starting to fall down. So, but one of the products, or one of the neat things that we're starting to see, is the use for all the old tin. And this barn has a couple of different varieties of galvanized steel on it. And this part of the barn obviously has fallen down. But the tin is pretty accessible here, and it's rusty, like people like, and it's the multi super tight ribs. So this is a super salvageable part of the barn. But we're going to try to pop in here now as safely as we can. So we're going to head in and see what kind of material, as far as wood, is actually in the barn. And it's pretty safe by our standards, I guess. But what we have is tons of old sawmill cut oak joists and oak floorboards, which is, it's actually kind of neat because this barn could produce a fair amount of oak flooring, oak for furniture grade, and things like that, or just straight up oak paneling, because you can definitely see the heavy circular saw cut when they ran these through the mill. I mean, this was definitely wasn't a multi-tooth blade. I mean, you're cutting there at 1/4 inch, coming across. You got some heavy saw marks in it, which on a wall, it looks really neat. So no, we're gonna kind of keep crawling through here to get to the front where the feed lot is. But again, we're going by all these old stanchions and stuff. And, things are kind of falling down around us, obviously. The old rope is holding it together here. But we're going to get into the main part of the barn now. Another one of Mary's points, and I guess you can see it. This door is hanging by a half a rotten 2x6, and she's concerned with like I say, again, with her grandkids. Pulling on this rope, this is just about ready to come down. I mean, it's a safety issue, and she wants it taken care of. And that's a big reason why she'd like the barn taken down, regardless of the repurposing. But we have a lot of, we get into some softwoods here. We've got a lot of softwoods for wall paneling or flooring or crafting, things like that. We have all our full cut, and these are close to 20 foot 2x6s, 2x8s, going all the way up. All the roof boards are oak, and the rafters are oak too. I don't know how, see what this is. This is my old peach crate. It's kind of neat. This is actually, it's something like this that you dust it off, you take it up to your local florist or something, and they make a real neat flower arrangement they can put in there, which is pretty neat. But it's just an old crate. They probably had apples in it. The really neat ones will have the writing on it. It'll say like Georgia Peach or something of that nature. But this is an old produce. But you want to talk about a neat, you clean it up, a neat centerpiece for Thanksgiving or whatever. Here's our shot at treasure here. I'm going to leave this up here, but we've got this old ladder, which obviously I can't go down it, but these old ladders, even with the rungs missing, it's obviously weathered, but you can put it above a kitchen island and hang pots and pans off of it. I've seen people, you can cut them in half and make like a V out of it, and you can hang stuff through it. It's just, there's so much if you let your imagination. But this old ladder is actually, we're surely not going to throw it away. That's going to end up as something. A lot of this stuff, we're trying to figure out a way with Marty at Root River to make this into flooring. And it's the biggest problem we have is resaw capability and nails. Trying to get the nails pulled out of everything is tough. Pulling nails out of oak is a real bitch. So we're trying to figure out how to do that without running it through a brand new machine and causing $30,000 worth of damage. So we're working on a flooring option for that. But we've got tons of paneling. We've got tons of craft stuff. We've got a great amount of tin that would look awesome, the rusty tin. So definitely some stuff here. The biggest trick for us here is to get in here, get this barn tore down in a week, get it transported to our bigger shop where we can denail and itemize all the material, put it on a pallet, get it either ready to ship or to build out of. To make it work on a strictly a business end, this barn has to be down and denailed in 2 weeks. So I've got one artificial hip now, scheduled for one knee replacement. I've had 8 knee surgeries, a ruptured disc in my back, broken ribs, dislocated shoulder. I'm kind of not supposed to be doing this stuff, and my wife yells at me, Lucas yells at me. But thanks to Mayo Clinic, they put me right back together, and we can still do this stuff. Well, when I was looking at the other barn, I was up in the haymow, and over the horizon I could see this, like the junk pile back here. I could see the roof of this little Quonset shed back here. I never talked to Mary about this, but as we're coming around back here, there's probably another farm site back here. Obviously there's a road here, could have been a logging trailer. I'm sure there was another farm back here. But, here's the mother lode right here, right here. This is, these wagon wheels, they are the ticket. You know, the landscape people, women, anybody, these old wheels are definitely a very valuable piece of property. Here's something here too. This is one of them little things that you just gotta keep your eyes open. Now it's froze to the ground. It's an old Highline insulator, but it's blue. They don't make blue ones anymore. It's got a little chip in it, but it's made in the USA. Made in the USA, but this was on all the Highline poles. This is what they ran the power on. But the blue ones are very rare. They're super pretty. And these again have a lot of collectability and for decorators and things like that. So this is a neat little find. Kind of makes the walk a little better. But we gotta keep going. There's a bunch of stuff here. This is actually this is where the fun stuff is. You just see what's up here. I mean, this was the big cement mixer, and I've never really even seen a mixer like this one. I mean, it's definitely a cement mixer. It's still got the cement on it. And again, even these, and it's just the hardware again. People like gears and things like that. This was a big old cast iron, and she's frozen into the ground now. But that is cool. I don't know, it could have, maybe they use it for boiling down maple syrup or something of that nature, or God knows what, but it's a big old cast iron pot. Here's the hooks, here's the handles. It's kind of cracked up, but it's again a valuable piece of a property. A little chicken coop, but it's got some awesome tin on it. Awesome tin. It's got some nice white weathered siding on it, and the old chicken wire. People use this a lot, hobbyists do, for inlays on doors, or again making baskets or something of that nature. But this stuff is super neat, and there's all kinds of stuff. So here's more of these blue insulators again. These are actually pretty complete. They're smaller ones, but these are in awesome shape. These are great. Here's boy, we found all the insulators here, and these here, if I was, this one's real unique. There's old skill saws. Boy, there's tons of these insulators. Holy shit! There's another bucket of them over here, and I know these things are $5-10 a throw. There's probably 100 of them. If you really got into it here, there could be 500 of these, $500 worth of these insulators. Yeah, crazy. Different styles. Yeah, this is one style. That's another style. Here's another style. Yeah, boy, these are neat. I would definitely talk to her. We don't take anything off of the site without talking, but this shed, if they wanted it down, we could take it. That's not a problem. Old skidoo. Everybody had back in the day, you'd have skidoos. Skidoo is if you were rich. If you were poor, like when my dad, when we were kids, we didn't have much, but we got an old Scorpion or a Johnson. Rupp was the other snowmobile, and you'd get on them, you'd ride them about a mile, as far away from the farm as you could. Then the son of a bitches would die. They were old carbureted pieces of crap. That's where they'd sit until spring. My snowmobile experience was about a 1 mile and then walk back home. So, but here's old barbed wire. We just sold a bunch of old barbed wire to a lady up by Plainview. It used to be miles and miles and miles and miles of barbed wire, and now people, when they tear down fences, they do it with a bulldozer. So a lot of the old barbed wire gets buried. So now when you find it, this is definitely something we'd want to talk about, is to see even the old barbed wire. But even out here, we haven't talked to Mary about any of this stuff, old corn planter, but everything here from where we started walking, 90% of this could be either repurposed for reuse to be rebuilt, or to again to crafters or things like that. And actually, anything that would be left would be scrap metal, so you could recycle that. If a person was bound and determined, you could recycle pretty much 100% of what's here. But without talking to Mary, this is just a kind of a walk we took to see what was here. A lot of people, this is kind of their treasure chest. We'll see what it becomes, but they put the stuff up here. They might not use it for 20 years, but most people know it's still here. Better than 50-50 chance we might get something to eat out of this deal. She was making some bread, so we're gonna say goodbye and see if we score a snack. Hey Mary. Well, it still smells awful good in here. Nothing like the smell of fresh bread.
Yeah?
But you got your apron on too, so you're good to go.
Oh, yeah. Bill went back to the cities.
Okay.
From May until November every year, he'd be up at 3:45 on Monday morning and get through maybe Friday night, maybe Saturday.
Because he was driving truck. That's when he was driving truck, Mary.
That's right. He went up there and he stayed up there with a family.
Okay.
And
he literally left your home.
He did.
To help support the family. This is during that.
To buy the farm back.
Right. Back to when things were bad.
And I was working at the hospital during that time, so we worked it out. He made the farm payments, I did other stuff, so that's how we made it work, and thank God. So.
It is.
That's right. Okay.
And I want to thank you for the apple Christmas bread and for giving us your time.
Not a problem.
Keep on it.
Glad you could enjoy it.
We did. I know I did.